Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on to better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that are being done right and are done wrong. I think I've seen this video before. It's about a couple years old, but when I've seen it, it was before I started doing video reviews. So, and it's got some good content in it. So here we go.
Hello, I'm Ken Roski, Chief of Police with the Pasco Police Department. This critical incident update is intended to provide you with information about an officer-involved shooting that occurred in the city of Pasco. You will hear relevant information and learn about details we know are related to this case so you have a better understanding of what occurred. To ensure compliance with Washington State law enforcement's independent investigations criteria and best practices, the Tri-City Special Investigative Unit, or SIU, took control of this investigation just after it occurred. SIU is an independent team of skilled investigators who will report their findings of the criminal investigation to the Franklin County prosecutor. SIU conducts very thorough use of force investigations, which require investigators to interview multiple witnesses, view video footage, and analyze a significant amount of forensic evidence. SIU is still conducting their investigation, and it is not uncommon for these type of investigations to take months to complete. The Pasco Police Department will also conduct an internal administrative investigation, separate and independent of SIU, that will examine our policies and procedures related to this case. They will report their findings to me. Our officers often respond to rapidly evolving, dangerous situations, and an overwhelming majority of those incidents, the officers resolve them peacefully. When a police officer uses force to arrest a suspect or defend against an attack, it can be graphic and difficult to watch. The images and information you're about to see may be disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised, especially for young children and sensitive viewers.
Hello, I am Sergeant Rigo Panetta, the Public Information Officer of the Pasco Police Department. I'm going to give you a brief overview of an incident that occurred on May 17, 2020, at around 3 p.m. Pasco Police street crime detectives had information that two subjects who had outstanding arrest warrants for murder were inside of a home in the 700 block of North 12th. The wanted subjects were identified as Juan Manuel Montalvo and Miguel Angel Montalvo. Both were wanted in connection with the murder of Luis Alexander Contreras that occurred about 2 weeks earlier on April 29, 2020, at a home on East Lewis Street in North Douglas. In the early morning of May 17, 2020, the day of this incident, the Montalvos returned to the same location on East Lewis Street in North Douglas. Both men broke into the home and started firing their guns at the occupants inside. Two occupants in the shooting were seriously injured, and the Montalvos fled on foot. While escaping the scene, the Montalvos stole a car at gunpoint and kidnapped the car owner, locking him in the trunk of the car. The victim was able to escape from the trunk, run off, and report the incident to police.
Wow.
The body-worn cameras used by the Pasco Police Department carry a 30-second buffer of video without audio. When a body-worn camera is activated, it goes back 30 seconds and starts recording. It does not have a recording of any sound during those 30 seconds. This feature is designed to capture police activities that occurred suddenly when an officer doesn't immediately activate the camera. These videos you're about to see also contain the audio portion, which records after officers activate their body-worn cameras. These cameras are also worn at chest level by most officers assigned to field duties, and they capture a general perspective of what is in the camera's view.
Pasco 87 dispatch. Pasco 87. Okay, I'm going to need you to hold the channel for a second, or for a while. I'm going to need as many units as we have to head to the North 12th, and we need to lock this thing down. We have confirmation that both homicide suspects are inside that residence.
The investigation led detectives to the 700 block of North 12th. Detectives were setting up full surveillance of the house, front and rear, and had requested additional patrol officers to assist. Detective Glass was positioned in the east half of the alley behind the home. Officer Fox, arrived as his backup. Both wanted subjects saw that police were surrounding the home and fled out the back and into the alley. Both Detective Glass and Officer Fox saw that the subjects were each armed with a handgun and ordered them to put up their hands. They refused to comply with the officers' directions. The subjects then fired their weapons at the officers. Both officers returned gunfire and struck each of the subjects. One subject was mortally wounded and the other seriously wounded.
All right. Hell yeah. So, one of my chief complaints when it comes to videos like this is officers neglecting to get rifles out on high-risk calls. This is obviously different. We see the officer holding a rifle. So right off the bat, I like what I'm seeing here. So high-risk calls. 2 murder suspects who have fucking kidnapped a person and threw him in the trunk of the car and have gone in and into other people's houses and shot them. They're tracking these 2 dudes down, and they've got confirmation that that's where they're at, is this location here. That is high risk. You're dealing with 2 very high risk individuals who are a clear and present danger to society. They are a substantial risk to society. So that type of high-risk nature dictates that a rifle comes out. And this officer has done the right thing. He has got his rifle out. A rifle is far more superior to a pistol. A pistol, it sucks for a gunfight. It really does. It has a very short barrel. It's not very accurate. And the terminal ballistics for pistol ammunition are horrible. The only reason why police carry pistols, or why anybody carries pistols, the only reason why anybody carries pistols on a daily basis instead of rifles is because pistols are more convenient and more comfortable to carry on a daily basis, and your daily basis does not involve being in gunfights every damn day. The only people who carry rifles all the time are soldiers in a war zone, because they could be getting into gunfights at a very higher risk on a daily basis. Everyone else here in the stateside, domestic, it's not a war zone around here. We don't need to fight every single day with guns. But there's always that possibility that something could happen. And because there is a possibility of something happening, that is why they carry, or that's why the pistols are carried. They can work when something happens, but they're not the best thing. If you know you're going to something that has an increased likelihood of being a deadly force encounter, you bring a long gun, rifle or shotgun. Bring one of those, and you bring all your friends who have those. Rifles have longer barrels, and you have more points of contact to further stabilize that weapon and reduce the amount of movement in it as possible to make it even more accurate. The terminal ballistics, whew, they are devastating. It takes fewer rounds from a rifle to rapidly incapacitate a threat than it does a pistol. So good on this officer for getting the rifle out, getting the right tool for the job.
And guys, if you can't approach from the east, we're bottled up here if you come down 12. Yeah, we're down there on Sylvester, block off the street, so we're going to have traffic going eastbound.
Alright, so this house right here, there's a bunch of windows facing east.
Another unit at 10th and Nixon.
There's a bunch of windows facing east, that's their windows, so we want to be careful.
Okay.
And then right where that blue car's at, you can cut down into the east side of that building.
At 12th and Nixon. There's a vehicle.
Hey, show me your hands! Put your hands up! One
just ran out the back window.
Hands up! Hands up! firing.
Yeah, shots.
He's reloading. Shoot him. He's reloading.
Put the gun down! Watch off fire!
Drop the gun! Jesus Christ. One down. Hey, where'd one go? I think he went north. Hey, we got one down here. Maybe one ran north. Miguel, I think.
2 seconds down. I got 2 seconds down.
I can't see the second one.
Hey guys, I'm coming at you from the west in the alley by the suspects. Coming up.
All right, let's get back into that first one here.
Car's at? You can cut down into the east side of that building.
At 12 vehicle.
Hey, come into your head! Put your hands up! Juan
just ran out the back window.
Hands up! Hands up!
Two suspects down,
One's still firing.
Yeah, shots.
He's reloading. Shoot him. He's reloading.
Put the gun down! Watch off fire!
Drop the gun! Jesus Christ. One down. Hey, where'd one go? I think he went north.
Okay, so contact up here to the front, and they return fire, and they start to take cover behind the vehicles. So there's another vehicle in front of this. Not only have they gone behind that one, but they've gone behind this one as well. You'll notice that he is not crowding his cover. That's an important thing to think about for daytime. You don't want to crowd your cover. The closer to the cover that you are, the more visible that you are. The further you stand away from your cover and you slightly lean out, the less of you is going to be visible to the adversary. Now, just talking about it, it's hard to fully explain that. That's something that you have to see. Unfortunately, I just don't have a way to show a visual of that. If you want, you could probably do a search for, cutting the pie or not crowding cover and trying to get a visual of that. Now, at night, it's reversed. So at night, you don't want to be far away from your cover. You want to be closer up to it. And when the person has the high ground. But at night, being closer to it, that allows you to get your weapon-mounted light past that cover, and you direct all the light out to the adversary versus you're somewhat behind the cover and you have that weapon light activated and it light bounces off the barrier and back onto you and actually silhouettes you and makes you somewhat more visible to the adversary. So I like how he's positioned here. He's a little bit further back. He's on the side of the vehicle where the engine block is. So we know that vehicles, bullets can go through them very easily. And the engine block is about the only thing that's going to stop bullets effectively. And so he is on this side of the vehicle. And he's been crouching. He's been staying low. And so he's got better positioning on this side of the vehicle, at least between the bad guy and him. There's the engine block. And he is far enough away from this vehicle so that when he does lean out to see around it to acquire his target, they're not going to see him very well, but he's going to be able to see them really good.
Hey, we got one down here. Maybe one ran north. Miguel, I think.
2 seconds down. I got 2 seconds down.
I can't see the second one.
Hey guys, I'm coming at you from the west in the alley by the suspects. Coming up. Going east on Nixon. Hey, everyone's hearing this. Go east on Nixon.
boxes here, class.
And guys, if you can approach from the east, we're bottled up here if you come down 12. Yeah, whoever's down there on Sylvester, walk off the street so we don't have traffic going eastbound. Hey, let's get another unit at 10th and
What's that?
There's a bunch of windows
We're
facing
finding
east.
one more
That's
here.
the windows. Be careful.
Okay.
Our supervisor.
Right where that blue car's at, you can cut down into the east side.
One here at
Okay.
12th and Mason. Different vehicles.
Hey, show me your hands!
Put your hands up!
Juan just ran out the back window on the east
Hands
side.
up! Hands up!
Two suspects down, one still firing.
Ooh, did you hear that? Back that up.
Two suspects down, one still firing. Stop moving! Show me your hands!
Shoot him, shoot him, reload!
Put the gun down! Drop the gun! Jesus Christ!
Hey, where'd one go? I think we're north. Hey, we got one down here. Maybe one ran north. Miguel, I
Now I got two subjects down.
can't see the second.
Hey guys, I'm coming at you from the west in the alley by the suspects. Coming up.
Here you will see slow down.
All right, let's back this up.
Get over it!
Hands up!
So it almost looks like he is starting to fiddle with the top of his gun where the sight is. So we'll go back really quick to the first video, and it looked like I could see it in that one.
12th and Mason. Different vehicles.
Hey, show me your hands! Put your hands up!
Juan just ran out the back window.
Hands up!
So right there, you see him reach to the top of the gun. He's going for the sight. I'll back it up a little bit, replay that.
Juan just ran out the back window.
Hands up! Hands up!
So it's possible that he did not have his red dot activated. He goes to get it out of the vehicle. It's in the back right here. The red dots, the batteries can last on them for a while, and you can leave that sight turned on, and it'll always be ready to go. But that, of course, then means you have to replace those batteries on a more regular basis. So a lot of people will just turn the thing off. Now, when it comes to pistols, that's a little bit different. Your pistol red dot sight, it's always on. So if you already carry, red dot pistol, you already know what I'm talking about. You gotta stay on top of it as far as battery changes and stuff like that. Now there are some different sights, shake awake kind of stuff. Now it's going to be inside a vehicle. I think that's going to cause the sight to activate a lot. So these other sights, a lot of people will just keep them turned off. And if you're going to have the thing turned off, you need to be doing the same thing every time when you get that rifle out of its spot, wherever it's maintained at. Once you get that rifle out, you charge it, sling it, turn the sight on, and then verify that the sight is on. And if not, pop up your backup irons. Like that needs to be like muscle memory. Like as soon as you get it out, charge, turn the sight on, look through it, make sure it's working. If not, pop up your irons, sling the damn thing. Or not sling it like throw it, but like sling it, put the sling on. That needs to happen immediately. Now, unfortunately, firearms training is not always realistic when it comes to rifles. So you don't have the same start off with rifle like you do with pistol. So with pistol, the pistol's always on you, right? So when you're on the shooting line and the command comes out to fire, and you draw from holster, sights on target, bang, bang, bang. That's realistic, because you're always going to have that pistol on your side. Now, when it comes to the rifle, are you always going to be carrying that rifle around? No, you're not. So when rifle training takes place on the range, and you always start off with the fucking rifle in your hand, or when you're not shooting it, it's laying on a table, or it's leaned up in a rifle rack on the range right there somewhere, that's not realistic. That's not how you're going to get that rifle out every fucking time. There's no tables in a fucking gunfight. You don't have a table to go up to reach for your rifle. It's going to be in your car. So realistic training needs to start from that aspect right there. On the shooting range, the vehicles need to be there. The students need to be retrieving their rifle from the vehicle, where they're going to keep it at, and go through that process. Retrieve the rifle, charge it, turn on sight, verify. If not, flip up irons, sling rifle, get on the line, then start shooting. Because if all you do is ever start from the line and it's all turned on, it's all working, you're creating training scars at that moment. Because you're never going to start like that. If the range instructor or the range mechanics don't allow for it, the rules or whatever don't allow for those mechanics to go on, then that's something that you need to do on your own. You need to build up those muscle memories of being at your vehicle, being in it, or walking up to it. Every time you get that rifle out, charge it, turn on sight, verify, sling it. That way you do it every single time. Because if not, then it looks like he got himself into a scenario where his sight was not turned on and they're in contact. And it looks like he messes with it again during this fight. So we'll watch this again.
Yeah, we're down there on Sylvester. Walk off the street, so we don't have traffic going eastbound. Hey, let's get another unit at 10th and 8th.
There's a bunch of windows
There's
facing east.
one
That's
more
where
here.
windows. Be careful.
Okay.
And then right where that blue car's at, you can cut down into the east side.
Here at 12th and 8th.
Hey, show me your hands! Put your hands up!
Juan just ran out the back window on the east side.
So messing with the sight, and then boom, taking rounds. So at this point, if his sight is not on, well, he's just sending rounds down range without the aid of a sight.
On the east side.
Hands up!
So at this moment, I think he's messing with the sight. So it looks like he finally got it turned on at this point. And he had, right after turning it on, he had good desired effect right there. You see that guy go down, back it up, you'll see him standing, and then he drops. And then you hear that, pew! Man, a round came by them pretty close.
Fixed down, one's still firing. Stop moving! Show me your hands! Shoot him, shoot him, reload! Put the gun down! Drop the gun!
So these guys are laying on the ground, and he's still shooting them. There are some people who would cry about that. Oh, they're on the ground. They're not afraid anymore. Blah, 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 blah. These are people who don't know what the hell they're talking about. Just because a person is laying on the ground doesn't mean they're no longer a threat. These guys are obviously still a threat. They have become somewhat immobilized at this point, unable to stay on their feet and bipedal out of there, but they're still fighting. And so this officer still has to protect himself and other people around him and shoot at them.
Run! Jesus Christ!
So that was a round being fired at him from people laying on the ground.
Yeah. Hey, where'd one go? I think we're north. Hey, we got one down here. Maybe one ran north. Miguel, I think.
Now I got 2 subjects down.
I can't see the second.
Hey guys, I'm coming at you from the west in the alley by the suspects. Coming up.
Here you will see slow down video that is zoomed in to show gunshots being fired at Officer Fox and Detective Glass. Two handguns were located, one next to each suspect. Pasco police officers rendered first aid once the scene was secured and immediately called the Pasco fire medics, who were already staged nearby, to treat and transport the injured subject to a local hospital, where he received medical care and was then booked into the Franklin County Jail for murder.
Yeah, we're gonna go in through the side house here, the yellow house.
Yellow house just to the...
There's a gate. Just follow me back there.
First one here.
They want to move them out if it's possible. To cover?
Need us to do.
Well, let's take them behind your car.
Yeah.
The Pasco Police Department believes in key principles in maintaining public trust are preserving life, protecting our community, and ensuring all uses of force are reasonable. The use of deadly force can be traumatic for all involved. Each encounter is unique and requires officers to make split-second decisions during tense, uncertain, and rapidly evolving.
Hey guys, I'm coming at you.
So we got 21:57 on this timestamp up here, right after the gunfight. And then (22:06). So a few minutes had passed by before they apparently got up to these two guys. It also looks like they used a vehicle to pull forward. So that makes me wonder if they tried to use a vehicle as like a rolling cover. I don't think that's the most effective thing to be doing because that person who's in the driver's seat, that windshield, bullets go through them very easily. So they're like front row seat to being shot in the face. And vehicles just don't provide that great a cover anyway. But how long it took them to get up there to them, I don't know. But it doesn't matter to me. If they're laying out there bleeding, oh well, so fucking be it. You brought this shit upon yourself. You shouldn't have been shooting at the police. So if it took them several minutes to gather up a team, to move in there, to analyze what's going on, make a good decision, move in there, and that took several minutes, and it was several minutes of these people bleeding out, I don't care. I don't care at all. Take 30 fucking minutes for all I care. Take an hour. Take an hour to analyze the situation, formulate a plan, and then move in to cuff them. If they bleed to death within that hour, oh well. They should not have shot at the police. It appears as though, you know, this is them fresh coming up. We still see the rifle up and pointed at them. So it looks like this guy has either fired the slide lock or he has incurred some type of malfunction with his gun. We can't see the other one very well to see what's going on with it. These guys had handguns, and they were going up against people, or two guys with rifles. The two guys with rifles won this fight. Even when I think one guy whose rifle didn't have a sight turned on. So basically one guy with the rifle didn't even have a sight at the beginning of this gunfight, and they still won this gunfight against two dudes with pistols. So Had these officers been armed with pistols, there's probably a good chance they would not have hit those guys, and those guys would have continued to run and go somewhere else, and then the gunfight would have continued from there. And that is one of the reasons why I so heavily advocate for the use of rifles during these high-risk things, because they are more accurate. You reduce the chances of misses when you use a rifle. All right. Not much else to say about this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.